Ben woke up a long time ago, but decided to stay in bed a little longer. His mother, having left breakfast on the table, had gone to work long ago. Finally, he reluctantly got up and began to get ready for school. He was already in his graduating class. Leaving the house, the boy took the usual road to school. Near the underpass, he stopped, as usual, to listen to a street musician. It was a middle-aged homeless man who played the guitar and sang sad songs most of the time. Normally, Ben would stop near him, listen to a few melodies, and after putting the money in the bag next to the man, run to school. The boy was feeling that the musician's songs were in harmony with his mood and feelings. Most of all, he liked the song about a father and his love, which he could not give to his children because he died. Ben learned it by heart and often hummed it to himself. He didn't remember his father, but the son gave him hope that they would meet someday. The homeless man also paid attention to the boy, who came by every day, stopped, listened to the songs, and always left some coins. This day, Ben listened to a few songs as usual and was about to leave, but suddenly the musician called out to him. The boy stopped, and the man, after thanking him, continued. "I often see you here. Do you really like my songs so much?" "Of course," replied Ben sincerely. "Some of them are merry, but most of them are sad and tragic. I especially like the song about a father." The man introduced himself as Mr. Black, and he sang the song again, especially for Ben. The boy listened to his favorite song again and could hardly hold back his tears. He suddenly realized that such a song could be written only by someone who had experienced the loss of a loved one himself. "Did you write this song by yourself? Is it about your life?" he asked cautiously. The musician nodded and, lowering his head to prevent the boy from seeing the tears glistening in his eyes, played a sad melody without words. At that moment, Ben realized why almost all of his songs were imbued with such pain. Behind the ragged clothes and unkempt beard, he saw a man with a broken heart and eyes full of pain and hopelessness. The school year was coming to an end, and Ben was preparing hard to go to university. One weekend, he decided to relax and took a walk to listen to a street musician. When he got closer, the poor man immediately noticed him and started singing a boy's favorite song about a father. Suddenly, several young drunken men approached the crosswalk. They stood next to the musician, pretended to dance, and one of them, waving a bottle, rudely demanded to play something more cheerful. The man got confused and stopped playing. He put down his guitar and, apologizing, tried to gently explain that he was tired, but this made the swaggering company even more angry. Then the musician took his bag of money and was about to leave. But one of the guys, shouting insults, suddenly snatched the guitar from his hands and with all his might hit it on the pavement. Ben was frightened at what was happening, but overcame his fear, came closer, and asked them to leave the poor man alone. In response, he was threatened. The situation became increasingly heated, but suddenly a police patrol approached the company. Seeing the broken guitar, the police officers asked what was wrong. "It's okay. The man just slipped and smashed his guitar. We just wanted to help him," said one of the ruffians. "Yeah, that's right, officer. I broke it myself. Accidentally," the musician added frightenedly. The police advised everyone to disperse and continued patrolling the street. The drunken company quickly left, and Ben stood and looked confused at a man and the broken guitar. Then he asked why Mr. Black didn't tell the truth. But the musician only sighed sadly and replied that those guys would have gotten away with it anyway, and sadly added that they had already beaten him badly once. After that, the homeless man said goodbye to Ben and wandered sorrowfully away from the crosswalk. The next few days, the musician did not appear, and Ben felt very anxious. But a week later, on his way back from his last exam, he finally saw the homeless man in his old spot. He was sitting with his head down, holding a piece of cardboard, asking for help, but there wasn't a single coin in the bag in front of him. Ben came closer and saw that the man was drunk a little and his face was covered with abrasions, bruises, and his lip was smashed badly. Feeling a pang of pity and immediately assessing the man's plight, Ben made up his mind and offered the homeless man to go home with him. As if immediately sobered up, Mr. Black looked at Ben dumbfounded, not understanding why he needed all this. He refused at first, and he was afraid the boy would be in trouble. But then, imagining how nice it would be to take a hot shower for the first time in a long time, he agreed nevertheless, warning him that he would just take a shower and leave right away. At home, Ben brought Mr. Black clean clothes and showed him where the bathroom was. Half an hour later, a man in his 50s came out of there, wearing clean clothes and no beard, and only the abrasions on his face reminded him of his homeless life. "Ben, you have no idea what you just did for me," he said gratefully. "Let's go to the kitchen. My mother made dinner," suggested Ben. "We made a deal. Just a shower," replied Mr. Black embarrassedly. "Come on, and now since you're here, let's have dinner together. Mom will be back from work only in the evening." They sat down at the table. The home-cooked meal, prepared with love for the son, was incredibly delicious, and the man caught himself thinking that this was the happiest day of his life in the last few years. As they were finishing their tea, they heard the sound of an opening door, and the boy realized that his mother had come home from work. "Hi, son," said the mother cheerfully as she entered the kitchen. "Hi, Mom. You're early today." "Short day. They let us off early," said the mother, looking at the strange guest suspiciously. "And I have a guest. Meet Mr. Black. He's a musician." "Nice to meet you, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm already late. I've got a lot to do today," said Mr. Black, getting up from the table. "I'll show you out," said Ben briefly, and followed Mr. Black out into the hallway. The mother became curious, and she overheard them talking quietly at the front door. "I shouldn't have come. How will you explain everything to your mother now?" said Mr. Black in a frustrated voice. "It's okay. My mom is kind. She'll understand," Ben reassured him. When Ben came back, his mother hugged him, and he told her the whole story of the homeless man's appearance in their apartment. He explained that Mr. Black was a good man, but that life had treated him very unfairly, and he deserved a better life. The woman listened carefully and praised him for his generosity and kindness. The next day, Ben went to a musical instrument store and bought a guitar and a case for it. When he approached the crosswalk, Mr. Black was sitting in the same place, staring blankly into the distance. The boy put the instrument down next to the musician. Stunned, Mr. Black, with tears of joy in his eyes, picked up the guitar and began to play a beautiful melody, and then sang a few songs. The beautiful sound of the guitar attracted passerbys, and people began to gather around. Ben threw money into the guitar case, and having said goodbye, went home. When he turned around, he saw other people throwing money into the bag too. He was relieved and walked happily back to his house. Soon after, Ben left for the rest of the summer to visit his grandmother in the village. When he returned, he immediately went to the crosswalk to see Mr. Black, but he wasn't there. He did not show up the next days either. Time passed. Studies at the university began. New difficulties, problems, and gradually the street musician was forgotten. In his 4th year at the university, Ben fell in love with a girl called Megan. They started dating and spent a lot of time together. Ben even introduced her to his mother, and she was pleased about their relationship. Soon, Ben decided to propose to Megan. The young man didn't have much money, but he wanted this day to be memorable, so he invited Megan to one of the best restaurants in town. There they made a modest order, but when the waiters began to bring exquisite appetizers and expensive wine, the young people got worried. But the waiter hurried to calm them down, saying that everything had already been paid for. Ben and Megan looked at each other in amazement and wondered who could have made them such a present. Maybe their parents or their friends. Ben approached the musicians and asked them to play a nice, slow tune so that after the dance, he could ask for the girl's hand. The music started playing and the young people began to dance, but Ben's heart was racing for some unknown reason. The melody seemed very familiar, but he could not remember where he had heard it before. When the music faded, Ben took out a ring and proposed to his beloved. Megan, bursting into tears with happiness, said yes. When the young people came back to the table, the waiter put a beautiful cake on the table and sent greetings from their friend. Upon Ben's attempts to find out who the man was, the waiter only winked, and at this moment a voice was heard from the stage. "Good evening, dear guests and friends. Today we have witnessed a wonderful event. Let's wish the young couple happiness, and may God bless them." Ben recognized that voice and walked to the stage. In front of them stood Mr. Black, the same street musician with that very guitar. He was well dressed and neatly combed. Mr. Black smiled, hugged Ben, and they sat down at the table together. Ben, Megan, and Mr. Black talked about many things, laughed, discussed the changes in their lives, and then Mr. Black went on stage and sang a few old and new songs. It was a memorable, lovely evening, and 3 months later, Ben and Megan had their wedding in this restaurant.